If I lost everything tomorrow, no subscribers, no email list, no community, and I just had my brain and a Wi-Fi signal, I know exactly how to rebuild. And the truth is that I probably grow even faster this time because I realized something that most creators never understand. And it's that the algorithm isn't your enemy, your lack of a system is. And I know a bit about growing from scratch outside of me making over 7 figures online in my business, outside of my very first digital product doing a little over 900K. I built up this YouTube channel from scratch last year with no audience, no email list, and no community. Now, with this system that I'm going to break down with you, you may not become the next viral sensation because that's not the goal. You don't just want to be popular just for popularity's sake. There's a lot of popular broke people out here, but it will help you build a profitable business online because this is something meant for contentpreneurs. And that's somebody that uses content to drive traffic to their business, to drive traffic to their offers. And this is the exact way that I make content that doesn't just get attention, but it gets the right attention and it gets the right views and it literally makes sales while you're asleep. So I'm just gonna break down step by step how you do it, how you create this system that gets the right amount of views for you to actually monetize the right way and build a digital empire. If I had to start from zero, the very first thing I do is delete every old belief about content. Look, there's no perfect setup, there's no viral formula, there's only one rule. Create to connect, not to convince. You see, because most people want to build followers, but I build believers because believers buy. And it's only going to take me about 5 minutes to break down this whole concept. So if you don't have 5 minutes to spare, then you'll just spend a hell lot of time, energy, effort, and money in trying to build the wrong thing. And when you build the wrong thing, especially with no solid foundation, everything that you attempted to build is just going to crumble fast instead of having a solid structure that you can build and grow a long-term business on for a very long time. So if you don't have 5 minutes to spare, then just have a great time having your business just absolutely crumble. But I'm super, super serious when I say that. Most creators are just looking to build followers. They just want to grow subscribers instead of growing believers. And that is the number one thing that you need to focus on, is making someone else a believer in you. And that's the one thing that builds connection, right? And we want to build connection with someone through the screen. We don't just want to build a follower. And that's what most people aren't realizing anyways too. They come up with a digital product and they're thinking that people are going to buy their product or their offer because it's such a good product or it's such a good offer. No, they buy into you first. They need to know, like, and trust you first, and then they trust that you are someone that can genuinely help them. So day one, from starting over, I will grab a notebook and I would answer one question. And that question is, who do I want to be the go-to voice for? It all starts there. Not a topic, not a niche, but a transformation. Because people don't buy content, they buy the version of themselves that they believe you can help them become. And you can help them come to that realization through content, but not just any type of content. So I call this epic expert content, and this is the only type of content that I make. And I highly suggest that if you really want to grow a business online, this be the only type of content that you make. And this is the framework. So look, the E stands for entertaining. So think about it. If I'm rebuilding, I understand that attention is a currency. So I know in order to grab someone's attention, I at least have to be a little bit entertaining. So I'd hook every video like a story, not a lecture. Maybe add a little humor in there, maybe add a little irony in there, maybe add a little contrast up in that joint. Anything to make people feel something within the first 10 to 30 seconds, because this is something that a lot of people don't realize about YouTube. The first 30 seconds is a big make or break point on any of your content, because people that aren't succeeding with their content, they're having like 80% of people or more fall off within the first 30 seconds. And it's because they're not hooking them in the beginning. They're not grabbing that attention. They're not making them feel something. So that's why I said that if I was starting from scratch, I would want to hook every single video like it's a story instead of a lecture. So even using this video as an example, I wouldn't start it off saying, All right, well, today I'm going to cover the 10 steps to help you get better views on your content. And step number one is going to be you got to make some entertaining content, because if you don't make entertaining content, then nobody's going to watch your stuff. No, I hit you with a hook. I piqued your interest. I told a little bit of storytelling about how I rebuilt starting from scratch, so you can connect and you can relate to it because you may be building from scratch. Then I can get into the information of it, but I know within those first 30 seconds, I gotta grab your attention, or else you're gonna just click off the video and you're gonna go watch something else. And here's the thing that a lot of creators don't understand either. Like I said, attention is a currency, but they don't understand who they're in competition with. They think that they're in competition with other people within their niche. You're not. You're in competition with Netflix. You're in competition with Hulu. You're in competition with Disney. Like, people can spend their time anywhere. You're up against everything. NFL, sports, everything. Everybody's attention could go somewhere else. So when you have an opportunity to grab somebody's attention, you got to give them a reason to be there. Now, when I tell people that they need to make some entertaining content, a lot of times the first thing that goes to their mind is that they have to do a whole bunch of trendy stuff or goofy looking stuff that they see everybody else doing all over the internet. That's not the case. That's where the P comes in. Whereas the P comes or stands for personalized. So look, you gotta know who it is that you're actually talking to. Generic content died years ago. Look, you gotta make content that's so specific that one viewer just says, damn, he's talking directly to me. That's the difference between building followers and building fans. And when I say this word fan, I'm not talking about the aspect of like just having some little fanboy out there. But there's this concept called 1,000 True Fans. Right? And I read this article by a guy by the name of Kevin Kelly. Once I read this, it actually changed my life. So Kevin Kelly's whole concept was that you only need 1,000 true fans to actually build a successful business. So the whole concept of it was, if you get 1,000 true fans to pay you $100 per year, you have your six-figure business, right? And that's just the concept of it. You probably don't even need 1,000, depending on what your financial goals are, right? Because imagine if you only had 300 people paying you $100 a month, you have a $30,000 a month business, right? Getting 300 people, like, that's very doable. But a lot of people out here thinking that they need hundreds and thousands and millions of subscribers. Like, no. Depending on what your offer is and what your financial goals are, you might only need 100. You might need 200. You might need 300, or you might need that 1,000 or more. But once you understand the concept of it, it's so powerful. And that's when I decided to go all in on YouTube, because I was like, oh, I don't really need a lot of people. I just need to get my people. And the way that you get your people is by making that personalized content only for them. And when you make that content only for them, then you know what is entertaining to them. That's why I said that you don't have to go around doing a whole bunch of goofy looking stuff, just like how all these other people are doing a whole bunch of goofy looking stuff just trying to get a view, right? You'll know what's entertaining to them. So you got to make that personalized content. And this all starts also by building out an avatar. So most people, they only think of a niche, but you got to take it a level deeper, and you got to build out an avatar profile within that actual niche. That's how you get seen. You don't focus on getting in front of everybody. You focus on getting in front of somebody, and then you'll be shocked to figure out how many more people are alike. You got to know who it is that you're talking to, so they feel like you're talking to them. And everything out here in entrepreneurship and making money and building your income, impact, and influence off the back of your content and your micro niche personal brand, it's all about feeling. It's all about emotions, because people only make decisions off of what they feel like doing. And what is a feeling? A feeling is an emotion. So if you make that personalized content that makes someone feel like you're talking to them, then it'll be so much easier for you to grow. And a secret of mine, because a lot of people, they struggle with this avatar. My avatar, just to give you an exercise, give your avatar a name. Like, a lot of people are just sitting there thinking of just some mythical, magical figure out there, but no, Give your avatar a name and really think about what problems are they going through? How do they feel? Are they confident? Are they not confident? Or something that really made this really easy for me is that my avatar is just my former self. So my avatar is me. So every piece of content that I make is just for myself from 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago. That's it. So it's very easy for me to make content because I know who it is that I'm speaking to. I know who it is that I'm helping. I know who it is that I'm serving. It's me. So if you feel any type of connection with my content, it's because you and I have a lot of similarities. And you are me and I am you. It's just that I have been doing this a little bit longer than you have, most likely. And when I'm sitting here talking to the camera, it's like I'm talking through the camera and I'm jumping to the past and I'm talking to myself. That's why certain people say that they really feel my content, right? They say, this is something I get in my comments all the time, like, I feel you, bruh. Because they can literally feel me. Like it feels like I'm talking directly to them because I am. And when you have this mentality also, it can help you in creating content because I don't care what anybody says. It's weird as hell just sitting down talking to the camera. That shit is weird. But if you know who it is that you're actually talking to and you give them an actual name, you can kind of play a mental game with yourself in your head and like call out the name before you start recording. So imagine if your avatar's name is Jimmy, and Jimmy cracks corn because he don't care. Well, when you sit down in your chair and you getting ready to shoot your content or whatever it is in your space to where you shoot content, you could be like, all right, Jimmy, listen, what you got to do is this, that, and this. And then in your editing, you can just cut out the beginning where you said, all right, Jimmy. And then your video can start off with, all you got to do is this, that, and that. That's something that I did early in my creator journey, was that I would sit down and I would call out my avatar's name. Yo, Aston, you tripping, bro. The 5 things that you got to do to get this and to get that is this. And then when I'm sitting there and editing the video, I would cut out when I sit down and be like, yo, Aston, you up here, you overthinking creating this content when you just got to get started, and the best way to get started. But when I edit my video and I sit down and I present it to the marketplace, the video starts off saying, hey, look, you've been overthinking. You've been overthinking this content. The best way to get started is to get started. They don't sit there and see what I'm saying. Hey, yo, Aston, blah, 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 because it's like I'm talking to someone. And once you do this mental exercise over and over again, you kind of start to trick your brain to believe that you're talking to somebody instead of just sitting there and talking to a glass lens, because that shit is weird. It's not normal. But make your personalized content for your avatar and only make that content for them. Now, the I in EPIC stands for irrefutable. So look, in my content, I only talk about things that I know. I don't tell you anything that I think. This isn't any theories, it's facts. And I know it's facts because I am the proof. And I only talk about things that I have done. So when somebody comes in my comments, which they do all the time and talk about, no, that doesn't work. No, it doesn't work. Well, I think this. I don't give a damn what you think. I'm telling you what I know, and it worked for me. Therefore, I have confidence in giving the information because I am the proof. And then outside of that, I have proof of other people that I've helped within my community also. They are the proof. I don't talk about anything that I think. I talk about stuff that I know. I can show you what worked and what didn't work for me. And then outside of that, now that I help other people grow their income, impact, and influence online, I can show what worked for them and what didn't work for them. Everything that I talk about, it has verifiable proof and data. And a lot of creators out there don't feel confident in their message because they're talking about stuff that they think instead of talking about stuff that they know. And they're trying to look perfect also. And people don't trust perfection, they trust receipts. And that will also help you be a more confident speaker as well, because a lot of people tell me that they don't feel confident speaking to the camera, or they don't feel confident in creating content that other people are going to consume. And at the core of it, a lot of that lack of confidence lies into them not believing what they're actually saying. It's like somebody trying to tell me that my watch right now is not solar powered, and that my daddy didn't give me this watch as a birthday gift, and that these 2 gold chains that I have on are also my daddy's. Like, he gave them to me. One of them, he gave them to me when I was a baby. Like, I have a little photo of me on with one of these chains and one of his leather-bound watches. I'm sitting in the crib with that stuff on. And it's like somebody telling me like, oh no, your daddy ain't give you that watch. Oh no, your daddy ain't give you those chains. Oh no, your watch needs a battery. It's not solar powered. And I'm like, well, I experienced these things and I have to prove. What are you talking about? Oh no, you don't know how to snap your fingers. No. Yeah, I do. I can confidently say these things because these are things that I've done. I can speak about them with facts and have proof. And when you speak from your irrefutable facts, you will become a more confident speaker as well. And it wouldn't matter what people think because you know that you're talking about what you know, not what you think, while everyone else is telling you what they think about what you know. Now, the C in EPIC stands for clear. So you need to be able to speak in a clear and concise message. You don't want to come up with all this convoluted, super too clever, too smart stuff. And a lot of people out here are trying to sound too smart. And a lot of times when you try to sound too smart, it's a lose-lose situation. Because for one, let's say that you do actually sound smart to a bunch of people, but you could intimidate them and your message could make them feel like that they can't do it. Secondly, somebody could just not understand your message anyways. And the whole reason for you making content is so that somebody can understand and digest what you have to say. And clarity beats clever 10 times out of 10. So even me, and even using this video as an example, I could have easily titled this video something very, very clever and something that I think is really cool. Like, this framework is clever and I think it's cool. Well, I could have titled this video, How to Make Epic Expert Content. People scrolling through YouTube, people see it on the home screen, be like, what the hell is epic expert content? They don't know. But if I call it how I would create content if I had to start over again, well, since I know how YouTube works initially, when a video is first uploaded, it's going to show it to people that have recently seen your channel or that have recently digested and consumed your content. Well, if they are learning to trust me as a trusted authority within my space, and they're looking to build content, to build their income and impact and influence online, and then they see a video by me titled, How I'd Create Content If I Had to Start Over, well, that'll probably pique their interest because they're like, okay, if he had to start all over again, what would he do? They'll click that, right? And if I present true value to them initially, then YouTube's gonna see the signals that that initial small batch of people that they showed it to watched it. And then they're gonna be like, okay, well, let's start testing this out with a wider audience of people that aren't familiar with him to see if they're in it also. But I wouldn't have an opportunity to get those eyeballs and that viewership if I titled the video something clever that I think is cool. Oh yeah, the epic expert content. No, I gotta be clear in my message. And then when I get people here, I can introduce them to something that I think is very, very clever. But at the same time, I'm being clear on how I'm explaining it. Every title, every thumbnail, every sentence has one job and one job only: to make it stupid simple for someone to say, I need this. The great philosopher Sean Corey Carter, otherwise known as Jay-Z, once said, I dumbed down for my audience and doubled my dollars. They criticize me for it, yet they all yell holla. If skills sold, truth be told, I'd probably be lyrically Talib Kweli. Truthfully, I want to rhyme like Common Sense by Soul 5 Million. I ain't been rhyming like common sense. So what Jay-Z meant in that is that he could be very, very super technical, lyrical, spiritual, miracle rapper in his raps. And he was that at a time. You can find old footage of Jay-Z rapping all super fast when he had the high top fade, but he wasn't garnering an audience. So in his words, in his lyrics, he dumbed it down for his audience, right? He made it digestible. People could understand what he was saying. People could understand the picture that he was painting with his words once he made his message more clear. Then he became Jay-Z. Now, even though I use that lyric as an example, I'm not saying that you have to dumb down your message, but I'll say if a somewhat intelligent 10 to 12-year-old can't understand your message, then you need to dumb it down just a little bit now. And actually, that takes more creativity for you to say something in a more clear manner as well. So like I said, I'm not going to take it to the point where some people say, which just sounds stupid to me, oh, if you can't explain it to like a toddler, then you're dumb. I ain't going to take it to that extreme. But if a somewhat intelligent middle schooler can't understand what you're saying, then you need to dumb it down. And majority of people only read on like a 5th grade level anyways. Even just think about the school system. We just learned the same stuff over and over and over again. Once we learned how to read, they didn't just keep on teaching us how to read. You learned how to read in kindergarten and elementary school, well, you learned it. So now you know how to read in middle school, you know how to read in high school, you know how to read in college and beyond and whatnot. Like, people don't teach you how to keep on reading. And any good marketer, they have softwares and tools where you can run your sales pages through something that will scan it and read it and tell you what grade level that it's on. And a lot of marketers want to have their messages be at like a 4th or 5th grade speaking level. And this is the stuff that's making like millions upon millions of dollars. But if your audience has to think, they'll scroll. Now, this here is the epic side of things. And the epic side of things is the psychology of getting attention that sticks. Now, the expert side of things, that's how you get paid. Because here, you get the attention, but over here on the expert side, you convert that attention into the money. So, on the expert side of things, the E stands for educational. I'm gonna just put educate for short. So, every video teaches a micro skill tied to a transformation that you sell as an offer. You teach to create curiosity, not to satisfy it. And once you mix entertaining and educational content, it's a crazy whirlwind effect that starts to happen. I call it edutainment. And edutainment is a gold mine. And a rule of thumb that I like to do in my content is that on the educational side of things, I like to have my free content be better than other people's paid content. Because like I said, if we're thinking of sparking that curiosity, then people start to say like, whoa, if his stuff is this good and I didn't even pay for it, like what am I gonna get once I actually pay? His free stuff is that good. And I literally see on a weekly basis in the comments, people getting results from my free content. And I spent over 6 figures on my personal development, mindset, acquiring skills and whatnot. So I know what everybody else has out here. And I'm like, oh, they holding back a lot of the sauce in their content. Let me go ahead and just give it out for free in mine. And when I tell people that, then they say like, well, then what would I charge for? And I say, if you are worried that you can give too much information and still not have any information left, then you need to go learn some more. LeBron James is LeBron James. I would be shocked if he could ever run out of stuff to talk about as far as the game of basketball. That's why you always need to be working on your personal development, your skill set, your acquisition of new knowledge and new information. So you can always stay ahead of those that you're teaching that follow your lead. And now the X stands for experience. I know it's spelled wrong. There's always somebody, the experience starts with the E. Shut up. But if I'm starting over, I'm sharing my process in public. I'm working in public. I currently am showing my process and working in public with all the content that I make, because I'm sharing what is, what's not, what has not worked for me. That's all that my content is. It's all stuff that's coming from my experience. So if I'm starting from scratch, I'll show stuff from my experience. I'll show me planning stuff. I'll show the failures outside of the successes. And that's something that really, really connects with people, is the failures. And so many people don't want to talk about that. They all want to look perfect online. But people, they don't connect so much with all the wins. They really connect with the losses. Just think about your favorite musical artist. And I love to use music as an example because music, typically your favorite music artist of all time, there's something that you connected with. There's something that's similar that you saw in that person that you connect with. So if I use myself as an example, I'm a big Nipsey Hussle fan. Rest in peace to Hussle, right? Like I even have his brand tattooed on my arm, TMC. The marathon continues. There was something in Nipsey that I saw that connected with me, right? And outside of what he was doing as an entrepreneur and how his whole concept of all money in, no money out, and all this type of stuff in the marathon, all this type of stuff that I connected with, but it was the flaws in him that I saw that connected with me. It was the growth that I saw that connected with me. There were certain aspects of his life that I saw similarities in mine. The best music that he made that connected with me was him talking about the 9 successes, which are the failures, the fuck ups, the mess ups, the can't get right moments. People love a great story, and even though success stories that we love, why do we love them? Because we know the depths that they came from. But people don't want to learn from a stage, they want to grow with you. So give them that opportunity. Now, the P in expert stands for problem solving. Now, every piece of content that I make answers a painful problem that my audience is searching for the solution for. I think about those things that my audience or my avatar is up searching for at 2 o'clock in the morning. They're not searching for how to get rich. They're searching for how do I market my digital products. They're searching for how do I get consistent sales. They're searching for how do I get the right audience. They're wondering how they can stop posting for months and get nothing back in return. And even as an entrepreneur, once you start to focus in on those problems, just in general, you'll start to make more money. Most people can't make money because they're thinking of how they can make money instead of thinking of how they can solve problems. And as an entrepreneur, we're only in the problem solving business, period. Think about it. Every single dollar that you spend on something, you spend it on something that solves a problem that you currently have in your life. Whether that be for educational purposes, entertainment purposes, food, whatever, they all solve a problem that you currently have. Even the things that people psychologically don't think. Like, I've seen a pattern in every single guy that I know. I can't speak on women because I personally don't know any women that own this particular car, but every single guy that I know that owns a Lamborghini, it fixes their problem of insecurity. Every Lamborghini guy I know is a very insecure man. And they get that thinking that it's going to fill some hole of insecurity because they all of a sudden they're super confident when they're out in public. Everybody look at me, oh yeah, I'm cool. Like, that fixes a problem in their life. And I know people that have other luxury or exotic cars, but it's something that I've noticed with the Lamborghinis that there's a pattern from my experience. And like I said, I only talk about my experiences. So that might not be the rule out there, but that's what I personally experienced. But every single thing solves a problem. So if you can stop thinking about how you can make money and start thinking of and isolating problems that you see and identify in the market and be like, okay, if I can just simply fix that problem, then I can get paid for the solution. And when you think like that, then you'll be able to forever get paid also, because just think about this real quick. For every single problem, there's a solution. Like, literally, this is the rule. If a problem did not have a solution, then it wouldn't be a problem. It would just be what it is. So by definition, something can't be a problem unless there's a solution to it, right? It's a two-sided coin. But guess what? For every solution has more problems. So if I use that same person with that Lamborghini, they have a problem. They're insecure. They found a solution. They have the Lamborghini. But now, once they start to hang around the other people with the Lamborghinis, because from what I know, from the people that I know, everybody that has a Lamborghini has this app. You get invited to all these meetups and stuff. They go to the meetups. And then you meet the person that has the real Lamborghini. Because everybody I know with a Lamborghini, they don't have the ones that have the Lamborghini doors, the ones that go up. The doors just open like a regular car. I'm not a car guy. I don't know what they're called, but typically that's the case. So then they have a new problem. They have new insecurities that lie in that they have to go out and spend a whole bunch of money on some more stuff to flash to the world to show that they're important. All right, and it's a cycle that goes on and on and on and on and on. So for every problem, there's going to come a new solution. And with that solution, there's going to be more problems. So that's why I said that you have to think about being a problem solver more so than how you can make money, because once you isolate a problem and you come up with a solution to that problem, well, there's going to be more problems that arise with your solution. Well, you can see that, spot that, and then you can come up with a solution for that as well. That's how you build a business long term over time. So even think of something like Apple. Apple, I have a problem, I need a phone. Apple gives me the solution of the phone. Great, got the phone. Now I have the phone. Oh, I need a charger. Apple got that. Oh, no problem. I do like music. I need some headphones. Boom, Apple, they got that for me, right? For every new problem, there's a solution that Apple gives, and then there's going to be another problem that arises with it. Oh, this phone looks fragile. I don't want to break it. Boom, they got Apple Care. Okay, well now I need more storage space because I've been taking all these pictures, all these videos. Boom, I got some cloud space for you. And then even outside of all that, what Apple did that was so genius was that even all the problems that are going to arise with their product, there's problems that arise outside of their ecosystem, and they built the ecosystem for every app to be on. So now if somebody comes up with the app, they want to sell it, boom, you got to put it on Apple. And now Apple gets a percentage of every single sale that comes through. Boom, somebody like Instagram wants to start selling blue checks and whatnot. Well, the app is on Apple, and if you pay for the blue check through Apple, Apple gets a percentage of all those people that Mark Zuckerberg is charging for blue checks, right? Like it's genius. But every single problem has a solution, and every solution has another problem. So if you just focus on being a problem solver, you'll be able to get paid forever. But in your content, you need to be solving problems that your audience needs the answers for. And then the E in expert stands for execution. So in all of your content, it needs to end with something that they can actually execute on. Every lesson ends with a move, not think about this, do this next. So even me, this video, I'm giving you something that you can execute on today. You can start making epic expert content right now. You don't have to wait to do this. But when you do this, you start to train your audience to take action before they even buy from you. And then the R stands for relevant to pain. If it doesn't hurt, it doesn't hit. And what I mean by that is that pain is the number one motivator that makes people move. So in your content, tie every story and every explanation to a real frustration that they already feel. And then the T stands for take action. So in every piece of content, there should be a logical next step for the viewer to take action. This could be you giving a call to action to sign up for a newsletter. This could be a call to action for somebody to download whatever your freebie is to build your email list. This could be a direct call to action to purchase a low ticket product. This could be a direct call to action to join a community or a membership. This could be a direct call to action to a one-on-one consultation call that you offer, or a coaching call, or to fill out a survey. But there needs to be something to where it's a logical next step for them to take action from the value that they've already received and consumed from you. Even if it's just having a call to action to watch the next video by having an end screen on a YouTube video to where they stay in your ecosystem and are watching video after video after video. Look, when you have someone's attention and the entire world is fighting for that person's same attention, and you actually grasped it for a moment, you got to keep it for as long as possible. And when you have them fully attentive, tell them where to go next. A lot of people are thinking that somebody would just already know or just assume where to go to buy your stuff. Even if you have a link for whatever it is in the description or pinned in the comment, tell them where it is. Even though the end screen is right there, tell them where it is. Don't assume that somebody knows the next step. Even if you think it's super logical, even though you have that logical next step, give them a call to action. Give something to where they are directed to take action now. I'm telling you, this is how you turn content into customers with epic expert content. And that's the only type of content that I make. And to really get the best effect of this, I highly expect that you just pick one platform so you can focus, and focus stands for follow one course until successful. And that one platform that I highly suggest that you focus on is YouTube. There's a reason why I only make YouTube content. It just trumps all. And I'm speaking as somebody that had over 120,000 Instagram followers when I quit social media and went all in and started to build my YouTube from scratch. Had 14 or 15,000 TikTok followers. Quit that. Came, built YouTube from scratch. The most amount of money that I've spent on paid advertising in a single month is a little over $100,000. Don't run any ads, built YouTube. And from my small YouTube channel that I have at the time, because I don't have the biggest YouTube channel yet, but I would have to spend $30,000 a month in those same Facebook ads for the same amount of traffic and eyeballs as I get for free on YouTube. And I won't even say I get them for free because YouTube pays me a little bit for it too. So it's like I get a little cherry on top as a little bit of extra money. I'm not against extra money to do something that I would have already been doing anyways. And if I wanted to pay for ads for it, would have had to spend $30,000 at least on it per month, not a one-time fee. But pick your platform of YouTube, and I say bare minimum, you post once per week. Bare minimum. If you want to get faster results, do more than one per week. And let me correct myself there. Don't even worry about the results. You need to worry about your input. So many people are worried about the outputs, that they're not putting in the necessary inputs to become the person that they need to be to get their desired output. So the reason why I said if you want faster results to do more than one time per week initially, it's just because so many people, especially starting out, they don't understand the amount of sheer volume that they need to do to become good at something. Take away getting a result from something, but just to become good. So they always think that it's going to be quality over quantity. And I'm not saying that that's not true, because typically, yes, it is going to be quality over quantity, but a lot of people haven't done enough quantity of anything to even understand what quality is. So you get to quality by doing quantity, and then you can make a decision on, okay, now that I understand what quality is, now that I have enough data points from my audience to actually understand what it is that they like to consume and what it is that they want and the things that I can actually help them on, and now I know how to deliver that value to them in quality. Okay, well now should I just do quality or should I do a quantity of quality? All right, but the thing about this, like I said, bare minimum one time per week, but if you want faster results, do more than one per week. The result is you getting better, and the result is you getting data points back faster. So imagine if you did one video per week, right? That's going to be 52 videos over a year. Well, if somebody else did 2 videos per week, they're simply going to learn 2 times faster than you doing the 1 video per week. So it's going to take you 104 weeks, 2 years to learn what they learned in the 1 year. That's what I mean about getting better. And the thing about quantity also is that people think that you have to do it in perpetuity. Like, no, it doesn't have to be for everything, but you can increase your quantity of something. You can increase your volume of something over a sprint, just so you can learn more in a shorter period of time. But regardless, I say that you focus on only YouTube and do a bare minimum of 1 video per week. But regardless, you want to build that consistency muscle. And during whatever your time frame is, you don't just want to be doing the same thing every single week. You want to be assessing the data that you get back also, because a lot of people are consistently doing the wrong thing. And you don't want to just consistently do the wrong thing over and over and over and over. You want to improve over time. And how do you improve over time? Well, you improve by tracking metrics. And on YouTube, the only metrics that matter are going to be click-through rate and watch time. I'm not saying that other things don't matter on YouTube, but these are the 2 big boys that you need to focus on. So click-through rate is going to be the percentage of people that actually click through the video, percentage of people that click it. So there's something called impressions. What an impression is simply just an eyeball, right? So when you hear impressions, simply just think of an eye. It's not a view, it's just an eyeball. So anytime you're on YouTube, you're on the home screen, you're giving all those videos, whether you decided to click them or not, an impression, right? And then paid advertising, that's what people pay for, right? They pay for the impression. But the percentage of people that click on those videos from the impressions is called your click-through rate. So for example, if YouTube gave you 100 impressions, right? It showed it to 100 people and 10 people clicked on that. Well, then you have a 10% click-through rate, right? So you track your metrics. So click-through rate first, because that shows that somebody has interest in the video. So that shows YouTube like, oh, this person clicked it. So they're interested in the topic. They're interested in this video. And then the watch time, how long did they watch? Are they actually watching it? That shows that they liked the video. So if they clicked it, they're interested. If they watched it, they liked it. Now, something that I did, especially when I was starting off from scratch with the click-through rate here, was that I had set a target for myself of a bare minimum of 5% click-through rate over the first 24 hours. So even though YouTube is a long-form evergreen platform, meaning that it's not about what your video does today. It's about the views and getting the right views from the right audience that video that you create today can do for literally weeks, months, and years to come. Like, I have videos still pulling in hundreds of views on a day-to-day basis that I did a year and a half ago, right? So everything is not about the now. That's why YouTube also trumps all, because it compounds over time. No other platforms has that power and that capability, because YouTube's the biggest streaming platform and it's the second biggest search engine, period, right? But from what I found to be true from my own data and people that I help out and coach in my community, is that the first 24 hours or the really first 48 hours, that really is big as far as the long-term success of a video. So I initially set a benchmark of myself within the first 24 hours. I'm shooting for a 5% click-through rate, bare minimum 5%. If something is below 5% over the first 24 hours, I'm changing the packaging, I'm changing the title, I'm switching up the thumbnail. Because I know if YouTube is getting signals that people aren't interested in this, which means they're not clicking it, then I'm not going to get any views. And then once I start to pull in those views, if people are watching the videos for an extended period of time, which is the watch time, then YouTube's going to be like, okay, people like this video. So people are clicking it and they're liking it. So let's show it to more people. That's how you start to build an audience. And then from this content, you want to have an offer. One offer. This is something that a lot of people struggle with also. They're separating their traffic. So they think that the money is made in having all these different products and all these different offers available. No, pick one. And if you want to offer these other things, have them available on the back end. Amateurs make money on the front end, experts make money on the back end. So you can create a system or a funnel and you can offer these other products to people on the back end after they've already made a commitment to purchase something, because it's always going to be easier to sell something to somebody that has already made a commitment to buy from you than to sell something to somebody new. But you want to have your one offer that you're driving all of your traffic from YouTube to. And within that one offer, you want to talk about this offer organically in every single video. So what do I mean by this? How do you talk about your offer organically in every single video? Tell stories about it. Share case studies, share behind the scenes, show some results, show some proof, but never force it. Always add value first. Even if I use myself in this video right here as an example, all throughout this video, I've mentioned my offer, kind of just dropped it in because it just organically went with what I was talking about at the time. My only offer that I offer right now is my community that's credited at the top community. But throughout certain examples that I was sharing, I was talking about how I have this member in my community that's going through this. I can speak with irrefutable facts from stuff that I've done and stuff that I've helped members in my community with, right? Like, I wasn't even thinking strategically like, oh, let me drop and mention my offer of my community in this spot right here. but it just organically flowed because it makes sense with the video. If I'm telling stories, if I'm giving examples, if I'm talking about some proof or some facts or some stuff that has been done, it's going to come up in my verbiage because it's what I do on a day-to-day basis. And then if you do make a direct offer for somebody to tap into whatever your offer is, let that flow as a logical next step versus forcing and jamming it down their throats. And then always think community over content. And I know this word community is a hot word right now, but really, think community over content, because if you can truly build something that feels like a community throughout your content, people feel a part of that community. And a lot of people, they're just thinking about content instead of actually building something to whereas people feel seen, to whereas people feel acknowledged, to whereas people feel helped. Right? Because everybody's out here trying to sell stuff to everybody every single day. Everybody's out here seeing and scrolling through and skipping past ads every single day. Everybody's out here being tired of being taken advantage of. Everybody's out here giving people actually their most valuable thing that they possess is their time. They're giving their time and all this content and stuff, and they feel ignored on the other side of it. Like, really think about people first and put people over whatever your business goals, whatever your money and income and revenue desires and goals are and whatnot. And always put people first and really think of building some type of community to whereas they feel welcome, to whereas they feel open, to whereas they feel seen, to whereas they feel heard, right? And I'm not saying that you have to do this by responding to every single comment, because as you start to build your audience, you might not be able to keep up with every single comment, but the ones that you can, maybe reply to them. Or if you're starting to see a trend of certain patterns, remember, we're problem solvers. So if we can identify the certain problem that people keep on saying within the comments, okay, let me show them that I see them, and let me make a video that helps and educates and teaches and adds them value about this common problem that I'm seeing all the time in the comments. Here's this video. So now they feel seen. If they don't consciously realize it, their subconscious will start to realize it, because they're like, oh, they're dropping exactly what I was hoping that they would drop. And you actually are dropping exactly what they were hoping that you were dropping, because you were aware of the problems that people were telling you that they were having, like throughout the comments and whatnot. And I'm telling you, when you make this epic expert content and people become aware of you, which means that they start to know you, and then throughout consuming this epic expert content, they start to like you. That's a plus. And then you actually start to think of building that community, and then they actually see you as somebody that they feel as if they can trust. That's when you start getting those sales coming in on autopilot. And that's when you start to get those numbers coming in online in your business, just like all them that you see on the screen right now. So if you're ready to make more working less online from stuff that you already know, go ahead and click the link down in the description and join this Credit at the Top community. For personal coaching from myself, all my exclusive trainings, plus a private community and entrepreneurs, all designed to grow your business online. It's only a few bucks a day to join right now, literally less than a cup of coffee per day. So go ahead and click the link down in the description and tap in, and I'll see you on our coaching call this Wednesday. I'm telling you, if you just focus in and lock in on YouTube and only make this epic expert content for your avatar, watch how things start to change, and watch how you have that exponential growth curve that a lot of people seem to want. You'll start to have that over time, because as your content starts to compound and your audience starts to compound, the sales from your offers start to compound at the same time. And then you just have this crazy snowball effect that just starts to happen of just everything starting to grow and build and just get bigger and bigger as it rolls faster down the hill. And it's a beautiful thing to see. But you got to lock in and focus. And focus, FOCUS, stands for follow one course until successful. And this should be the one thing that you're focused on. So go ahead and click the link down in the description if you want to tap into the community. And I'll see you on our coaching call this Wednesday. Go ahead and check out this video right here for 3 tiny digital products that are guaranteed to sell once you attach it to this content. It's Credit at the Top.